The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution is not a suggestion. It is a declaration, a clear and unequivocal statement of our rights as citizens of this great nation. It is not an outdated relic of the past, nor is it a mere historical footnote. It is a living, breathing testament to our enduring commitment to liberty and self-defense. It is a fundamental right, just as crucial today as it was in 1791, when our founding fathers enshrined it in the Bill of Rights. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. These words are not just ink on paper. They are the bedrock of our freedom. These words, etched in the bedrock of our nation, guarantee the individual right to own and use firearms. This right is not a privilege granted by the government. It is a fundamental aspect of our identity as free individuals. This is not a right granted by government. It is a right inherent in our very existence as free people, a right that predates the Constitution itself. It is a right inherent in our very existence as free people. It is a right that speaks to our core values of independence, self-reliance, and personal responsibility. Our founding fathers, veterans of a hard-won revolution, understood the importance of a well-armed citizenry. They knew that a free state could only be maintained by a populace capable of defending itself. They knew that the power of government must always be checked by the power of the people. This balance of power is essential to the preservation of our freedoms. The Second Amendment is that check, the ultimate safeguard against tyranny. It is the bulwark that ensures no government can overstep its bounds and infringe upon our liberties. It is the right that secures all other rights. Without the ability to defend ourselves, all other freedoms are vulnerable to erosion and eventual loss. Yet today, this fundamental right is under constant assault. Every day we see new attempts to undermine and weaken this essential freedom. Politicians, driven by misguided intentions or worse, a lust for power, chip away at the edges of the Second Amendment with every new law, every new regulation. They seek to control us by disarming us, to make us dependent on the state for our safety. They tell us it is for our own safety, for the greater good. But history has shown us that disarmament leads not to safety, but to subjugation. Benjamin Franklin stated, "They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." But make no mistake, every restriction on firearms is a restriction on liberty itself. Every law that limits our right to bear arms is a step towards tyranny and oppression. The time has come to reclaim the Second Amendment. We must stand up and defend this right with the same fervor and determination as our forefathers. We must remember its original intent, its vital importance in preserving our freedom. We must educate ourselves and others about the true meaning and purpose of the Second Amendment. We must stand firm against those who would disarm us, who would leave us at the mercy of criminals and tyrants. We must be vigilant and proactive in defending our rights. The Second Amendment is our birthright, and we must defend it with unwavering resolve. It is the cornerstone of our freedom, the guarantor of our liberty, and the shield that protects us from tyranny. To understand the Second Amendment, we must first understand the context in which it was written. The Founding Fathers were not merely drafting laws. They were crafting a framework for a new nation, one that would stand the test of time. The Founding Fathers were not philosophers dreaming up ideal governments in a vacuum. They were practical men, deeply influenced by their experiences and the tumultuous times they lived in. They were realists, hardened by the fires of revolution. The struggle for independence had taught them invaluable lessons about power, governance, and human nature. They had seen firsthand the dangers of unchecked power and the oppressive nature of a tyrannical government. The British Crown's heavy-handed tactics were a stark reminder of what happens when power is concentrated in the hands of a few. Just a few years before the drafting of the Constitution, these men had taken up arms against the most powerful empire on earth. Their victory was not just a military triumph, but a testament to their resolve and belief in self-governance. They fought for their freedom against a king who sought to disarm them, to leave them powerless against his tyranny. The right to bear arms was not just a matter of personal defense, it was a symbol of their autonomy and resistance. They knew that a government that could take away the people's means of self-defense could easily take away their other freedoms as well. The ability to defend oneself was intrinsically linked to the ability to preserve one's liberty. The memory of British oppression was fresh in their minds as they gathered to create a new government, one built on the principles of liberty and limited government. They were determined to avoid the pitfalls of the past and create a system that would protect individual freedoms. They understood that power corrupts and that even the most well-intentioned leaders could succumb to the temptation of tyranny. This understanding was not theoretical. It was grounded in their lived experiences and the history they had witnessed. They knew that the only true safeguard against despotism was an armed citizenry capable of defending itself against any threat, foreign or domestic. This belief was not just about physical defense, but about maintaining a balance of power between the government and the governed. This fear of government overreach, this deep-seated distrust of concentrated power, is woven into the very fabric of the Constitution. Every clause, every amendment, was designed with the intent to limit governmental power and protect individual rights. It is evident in the separation of powers, the system of checks and balances, and, most explicitly, in the Bill of Rights, a document specifically designed to protect individual liberties from government intrusion. The founders wanted to ensure that no single branch of government could dominate the others or oppress the citizens. The Second Amendment, then, is not an anomaly, a relic of a bygone era. It is a crucial part of the broader framework designed to safeguard freedom and prevent tyranny. It is a direct reflection of the founders' deepest fears and their unwavering commitment to ensuring that the tyranny they fought to overthrow would never take root in American soil. Their legacy is a testament to their foresight and their dedication to the principles of liberty and justice. The language of the Second Amendment is clear, its meaning unambiguous. It states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Yet for decades, this simple, straightforward statement has been twisted, contorted, and misrepresented by those who seek to undermine the right it so plainly protects. Some argue that the Second Amendment only applies to militias, to state-sponsored military forces. This interpretation ignores the plain language of the amendment, which explicitly states that the right to keep and bear arms belongs to the people, not to the government. The militia, in the founders' vision, was not a standing army but rather the entirety of the able-bodied citizenry, ready and willing to defend their communities and their liberty. Others claim that the Second Amendment only protects the right to own certain types of firearms, such as muskets or hunting rifles. This argument is equally flawed. The founders were quite aware of the technological advancements of their time. They were intelligent men who understood that the right to keep and bear arms would need to adapt to the changing times. To limit the Second Amendment to 18th century weaponry is to render it meaningless in the face of modern threats. The Second Amendment is not about hunting or sport shooting, though it certainly protects those activities. It is about the fundamental right of self-defense, the right of individuals to protect themselves, their families, and their property from any and all threats, both public and private. It is about ensuring that the people are never at the mercy of criminals or tyrants, that they always have the means to resist oppression and defend their liberty. The Second Amendment, in its purest form, is about power. It is about ensuring that the ultimate power in a free society rests not with the government, but with the people. The founders understood that a free state relies on the active participation and vigilance of its citizens. They envisioned a society where individuals are empowered to take responsibility for their own security and that of their community. This empowerment is not just about physical defense, but also about maintaining a balance of power. The Second Amendment serves as a check against potential government overreach, ensuring that the state cannot easily impose tyranny upon a disarmed populace. Debates over the Second Amendment often focus on the types of firearms and the extent of regulation. But at its core, the amendment is about the principle of individual sovereignty. The right to keep and bear arms is intertwined with the very concept of our republic and self-governance. It is a reminder that the ultimate authority in a republic lies with its citizens, who must be equipped to defend their rights and freedoms. As we navigate the complexities of modern society, it is crucial to remember the original intent behind the Second Amendment. It is not merely a relic of the past, but a living testament to the enduring principles of liberty and self-determination. Stay frosty, my friends. Keep your head down and your powder dry.